Welcome, dear friends, to the Taviren, a Wheel of Time podcast hosted by three gentlemen for whom the very wheel itself bends around. Without further ado, here are your hosts, Bill, Rob, and Rich.
Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Tarviran podcast. With me, your host, Bill, and I'm on my own this week. Yeah, I'm giving Rob the week off. The boy's been working hard, so I thought, go on, Rob, you sit back, put your feet up for a bit. I'll take this one. Don't you worry, my friend. And yeah, Rich just said, fuck you guys, I'm off. Oh, there you go. 10 seconds in, Rob, and I've already swore. Yes, hello, dear listeners, and welcome to yet another telling of the pattern. How you all doing? You all been drawn in by the pattern? Are you weaving the pattern to your will? Yeah, good. No, no. Oh, really? Oh, that doesn't sound good, McGee's. Mini BT? Huh? Yeah, good. Okay, okay. Anyway, enough of that absolute nonsense, shall we say? So yes, I am here. I'm on my own, and I'm rather nervous, which is strange because I do quite a lot of podcasting by myself, but I'm kind of used to those shows. I'm used to having a Rob hold my hand and guide me through the world of the Wheel of Time, as it is. So, yeah, I mean, just a quick update from myself, obviously, because I know you guys have only heard from me once recently. I am now back to work, so I will hopefully be able to start recording more often with Rob. Maybe not so much Rich, as our schedules don't quite line up as they used to. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe one day again in the future we'll get all three of us on. But yeah, we're going to sort of try and get back onto our double hosting schedule that we had before. And so hopefully you'll have a lot less of these single episodes. I feel like it's always better when there's two of us and we get to bounce off each other. Because yeah, I've now got no one to make my silly perverted jokes about Matt and all that other stuff. So that's not always fun doing it by yourself, I'm afraid. So yeah, hopefully I'm definitely not going to be the comic genius I normally am. God, whoever called me a comic genius? Oh yeah, no one. Anyway, so so that's about it for intros. Like I say, everyone's got the week off. I'm being left to myself. So reviews. You know, you lovely people, you've been out there and you've been busy ferreting away on your pod catching apps, letting us know exactly how you think of the show and what you think can be improved or what we're doing wrong. And yeah, no one's left a bloody review. I think I'm going to have to start being mean and I'm going to create some sort of awful music that we'll play for when we get no reviews. um, so yeah, that's an idea that we would have stolen from another podcast called Ultimate Final Fantasy. They basically had like a 3 minute long, like their own version of a Black Sabbath song, which was the no review song. And every time they got no reviews, they would play it. And yeah, it really worked to get people putting in reviews. So guys, unless you want to hear some sort of awful composition that I will put together for no reviews, you better get reviewing on your podcasting apps. Get reviewing on iTunes, Google Play Store, whatever. Do it, or you'll be punished. Beelzemon will be coming to you all. Beelzemon says review. Don't know where I was going with that. Yes, so what will be coming soon, as a little mini update for the podcast, is that we are setting up a merchandise store. Um, one of our good friends, Troy, who he's on the network. He does the Power Pay Through podcast with Troy. Yeah, anyway, I can't say it. And he also does the best animated shows ever so far with his friend MC, which is a really good if you like your old well, actually it's all cartoons 'cause it's best animated shows ever. So they're trying to cover everything. But I think this week's is the DuckTales, which is a personal favourite childhood memory of mine. I think because that's come up on the Disney Channel, they decided to go over it. But yes, Troy, he does a lot of merchandise stuff, and he just said, "Hey guys, why don't you just slap your logo on a um, Redouble or whatever it's called, and see how it goes." So yeah, we're doing that. We're currently getting our logo on there and adjusting it for the different things on there. So yeah, we'll put a link in the episode description below. and you guys can check that out. So far, I managed to upload a very old logo, which I forgot was old. So Tyler reminded me that that is not the current logo, and I should change it. So yeah, I'm just gonna make some small adjustments, and I'll put that on there. So yeah, if you like our little yin and yang Tarviran podcast logo, you'll soon be able to have it on a coffee cup mug if you really want to. I'm sure you're all riveted and very excited to go click on that link below. And yes, I'm still pointing down. What's down? There's a small baby on my chest. Hello, Margot. Say hello. Oh, you just got. Yeah. So, yeah. So below me is a baby, and below you guys is a link. Oh, how ridiculous. So yes, next part on our daily segments. Oh man, I need to get some sort of soundbite in there. Scott, who's been helping me out with my other show, the RPG, well, formerly the Golden Years, now called the After Years. He's added in like little sound bites between segments, and I really love it. So I'm going to work on that, guys. I'm going to get a little sound bite segment to go in between segments for us. Something patterny. If you can think of sounds that are patterny, people, please contact me at Metunica, Metunnica. Let me know what is a pattern sound, or just contact me on the Discord, whatever you want. Links below. Pointing down again. So Wheel of Time news. So there was a supposed screenshot of Matt and Rand, which might have been actual footage from the show, but it all sounds like a load of crap to me. The word might makes me feel like I wasn't even going to put this in. So Rob was trying to tell me to make up some fake news, but Rob, we just don't roll that way. You know, I'm from England. We don't do fake news over here. We do real news. We do real news and other stuff. But I'm not going to get political. I got told off for that. But yes, so no real news as far as Wheel of Time goes. It's hard to have a lot. I think we've been very lucky that we started this podcast just as the Wheel of Time show started kicking off. Because otherwise we wouldn't have any Wheel of Time news, really, would we? Because the series finished like what several years ago. So what news is there? Like, yeah, no new books, nothing news coming out. That fan fiction that you all want of Matt isn't going to happen. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So I'm going to get into it this week. So this week we are talking about chapter 42 of The Eye of the World. But first, here's an advert from Rich.
Hey everyone, Scott here with my good pal Rich. Say hi, Rich.
Hi.
And we're here today to tell you about a podcast we host together with our buddies Jay and Bill, the RPG After Years.
The after what?
The RPG After Years. Our show has entered into a new era of covering everything RPGs, both old and new. Thus it is after its first era. It's the After Years.
I thought RPG was rocket propelled grenade.
No, RPG stands for role-playing game. It's a genre of video game. Every week we go through the latest news and discuss other relevant RPG-related topics. We also review RPGs as we complete them.
So an RPG is not a rabid Portuguese goose?
No, thank God. From Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy to The Witcher and Cyberpunk, we've got RPGs covered from the dawn of time to the far-flung future.
Oh, I've heard of Final Fantasy.
I'd hope so. So check us out on iTunes or whatever your preferred podcast listening platform happens to be. You can also find us at probablywork.com. Level up your podcast feed with the RPG After Years.
Enjoy the show.
We are on chapter 42, Remembrance of Dreams. I don't know why I said that so slowly. So to recap from last week's chapter, Old Friends and New Threats, which was quite an interesting chapter. There's a few things happening in it. So basically, Rand came back from his little adventure that he took, going off, being pulled by the pattern via the Tarviran means, via the Queen of Andor. Yes. So he had his little adventure with the Queen, and then went back to the hotel. The Queen's blessing. Yeah. God, come on, brain, catch up. So yeah, he went back. He went back to the Queen's blessing, which is where Loyal told Rand that he is Tarviran. So, yay! Finally, we get to use the podcast name. Yeah. And then we also we get to catch up again with our good old friends Moraine, Lan, Egwene, Perrin, and Nynaeve, who have all come to the Queen's blessing. And so finally, all the gang is now back together. And then we had a very dark moment with Matt, where they finally realised all the uh, exactly the toll that the dagger is taking on Matt that he stole from Shadow Logoth. Matt actually tried to kill Moraine in the last chapter, and that has one of my favourite moments, probably from the Wheel of Time, where I think it might be from Nynaeve's perspective. I can't remember, but it's the line where it says, "Lan crossed the space like it didn't even exist." Something along those lines. It's just amazing. He crossed that space like it wasn't even there, and it's just like, oh my god, like a blink of an eye, lands there to stop Matt killing Moraine, and it's just the way Robert Jordan described it. I just love it. It just makes you realise how epic Lan is. Um, so Moraine sets to a task to see that Matt she can help treat him a bit, and everyone else goes off, and then that's where we are now left in chapter 42, Remembrance of Dreams. And I have to say, thanks, Rob. You know, I know you said, "Oh, any chance I'm gonna have a week off?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, mate. You've been working hard. I'll get on this." You stitched me right up because nothing happens in this chapter. This is basically, hey, hey everyone, we haven't seen each other for like 20 chapters. This is what we've all been up to. You get, yeah, and you, Rich, yeah, you know what you did. So yeah, we're still in the Queen's blessing, and we've walked downstairs to the library, and yeah, one of the interesting things that happen, I'll say one of the interesting things. The nice thing that happens down here is that Rand introduces the party to Loyal, the Ogier that we met from before, and most of them are aghast. Again, Rand just sort of sits down and sort of starts chatting away with Lowell, Loyal. See, I'm reading it and I'm reading it wrong. It's Loyal. I know that. So he's having a little chat with Loyal, just going, generally just shooting shit. And then he realizes that everyone else is just watching, just like, oh my god. And so Rand politely introduces Loyal and says, "This is an Ogier," and then everyone's just like dumbfounded. They've already lived through legends of Trollocs and half Brit and half men and all that sort of stuff. But still, seeing a walking legend, an Ogier, shocked them all. But Rand does, he's a kind gentleman. He does think, God, they're doing better than the first time I saw Loyal when I just shouted Trolloc in his face. Trolloc! So yeah, everyone gets to meet Loyal, and they just have a little sort of they start asking him loads of questions. And then after a little while, Matt and Moraine come down, and he looks like he's in good condition. But Moraine explains that she hasn't actually been able to sever his ties to the dagger, and she does explain as well that will eventually have to be done in Tar Valon, because it will take more than her abilities and more than the abilities of several Aes Sedai in order to break it. And she doesn't really want to use um, the Aes Sedai that are in the city because they are of a certain jar. What a jar? Did they leave the door ajar? Is it a jam jar? We don't know. But yes, he has managed to quell because Rand asked about the fact that Dark Friends and Shadowspawn have been able to track them with the dagger, and she says, "Well, I've managed to reduce its effects, and if any of the Darkspawn can sense the dagger now, they are close enough that it doesn't really matter." So yeah, she says her the effects of just having her around them should protect them enough, unless a Dark Friend gets within like 10 foot of them, in which case you're pretty fucked anyway. So yeah, Moraine is introduced to Loyal, and she asks him to leave them so that she can talk to everyone. And this is where Rand says, "Oh, sorry, Moraine. I did promise this giant monster that he could actually join us." So yeah, you better get over that. And Moraine just split second, just like, well, will wills as the wheel wheels, the wheel weaves as the wheel wills. God, why can't I speak tonight? It is the middle of the night. I've got a sleeping baby on my chest. I'm going to slur a few words. Sorry, guys. I'm sleep deprived. Deal with it. Um, yeah, so she just accepts it and she asks Lan to keep guard. And again, there's a fantastic line there about Lan, who just appears to be looking at nothing but seeing everything. God, they really build how epic Lan is in these couple of chapters. I love it. Just a few little nuggets of text in there. It's just like, oh yes, Jamaican Lan man, you're the man. So yeah, Moraine tells them that they cannot remain in Canaan for much longer, and after some discussion, Moraine finds out about the fact that Rand met Elida, the royal family of Andor. And it's just so strange. Just like Rand just starts talking about it like it was nothing, and everyone's just looking at him. He's like, "What? What? What?" It's like, I was only trying to get a look at the false dragon. It's not my fault I fell off the wall into the royal gardens. It's like, and I met met the queen's daughter. Then I got arrested. Then I met Elida, who said she wanted to keep me so that she could have more premonitions. But the queen was, upholding the law, wanted to release me because she was a nice girl. Please don't hurt my only bread. And it's just like everyone in the room is just absolutely flabbergasted by the entire story, and it's just you can Moraine, you can see, you can almost feel the energy coming off her. Just like how Targaryen is this guy that he got pulled all the way to see Elida and the Queen? It's just ridiculous. But the will weaves as the will wills. Drop that little nugget in there. Oh yeah, that's one for your spreadsheet, Rob. Make notes. Now, Loyal at this point says to Moraine that he has a question to ask, and she tells him to stop talking and hurry up. Because yeah, he just keeps going. Loyal doesn't have much concept of time, and as Rand describes it, he likes to explain 200 years of history before actually talking about the thing he wants to talking about, because he feels like it's relevant. And Moraine does say to him, "Yeah, you can ask me a question, but pick up the pace." So he tells her a story about a man who came to the stead in Shanghai. It's really annoying because it just on the audiobook it really sounds like they're saying Shanghai, especially as I tend to listen to it at like 1.7 speed. So it's Shanghai, I think, is how it's pronounced. But yeah, a man who came to the steading at the end of the Il War, and so this was some 20 years ago. The man was hurt, and he was talking about a Dark One or the Dark One, so the actual Dark One himself, trying to blind the eye of the world and killing the Great Serpent. And he asks her, is that really possible? Can that be done? And then this is the point where Perrin suddenly pipes up about the fact that that was one of the stories he heard from the Tinkers when him and Egwene were, having their good dancing times before they started getting beaten up by white cloaks. Um, and the Tinkers had the story of the Isle Maiden, who basically said the same thing, but she used all the phrases of the Aiel, like Sightblinder and everything. But it was the exact same story, but from 3 years ago, not 20 years ago. And this really sort of troubles Moraine. And she's just like looking about the room, just like, oh my God, what's all this information dump coming down on me all at once? And then Perrin pipes up again to Matt and Ram saying, all right, I think it's time we told her. She's like, what? What else? And this is where they want to tell her about the dreams that they've been having. And Moraine is very displeased about this, and she says, "I did tell you at the beginning." And I think we mentioned this on the podcast as well. Did tell you, like she literally just one-liners, and the moment they meet, just like, "Yeah, make sure you tell me if you're having bad dreams." It's just like, I told you when we first met." It's like, you're Aes Sedai. These are teenage boys, all right? Unless you're going to tell them there's like some sort of gorgeous lady standing around the corner, they're not really going to pay attention to you. They're not going to remember things like this. I'm a grown man and I still can't remember things someone told me 5 minutes ago. It all just goes in one ear, out the other. So get over it, Moraine. Yeah, but Moraine is very displeased with the boys not bringing it up sooner, and she thinks she could have helped them, but it was too late. And this is at this point, it's like one of these little mysteries because she says about there hasn't been a Dreamwalker in Tar Valon for over 1,000 years. So why does Moraine think she could have tried to have helped him? Now, at this point, we don't know what Dreamwalkers are, and we don't know if Moraine could have helped, but you'd think if there hasn't been one for 1,000 years, how would she help? Like, come on. Yeah. how would she protect the boys? I don't know. And having read the books, I still don't really know. Maybe she's hiding something else that I just don't quite understand. And she explains to the boys how she can keep Beelzebub from hurting their dreams and denying him, but they might need to find their own ways. So she says, if he will try everything he can only touch your dreams if he has a connection to you, or by chance, or if you seek him out. And he says that the only way to protect yourself is by denying him, which is what Rand has been doing quite frequently when the dreams pop up. I deny you, Beelzebub. And Perrin replies that he thinks he's already found his protection. Moraine gives him a little nod. And as we know, the wolves have kind of been sitting there helping protect his dreams a little bit, despite that they occasionally get a little burn. So yeah, Perrin's golden eyes. And Rand actually makes a comment on the fact that how gold his eyes looked in that particular moment. So after hearing this conversation about the dreams that they had, Loyal concludes that all three boys are Tarviran, and Moraine agrees. Now, in fairness, Matt and Rand have kind of been traveling together the whole time. So what's the evidence here that Matt is Tarviran? Because, definitely Rand, he left the confines of the Queen's blessing for 10 minutes and he ended up in front of the Queen on trials. Whereas Matt just sat in his room playing with his, polishing his dagger, just like Rich does. Oh no, I'm Matt. Rich is Perrin. Yeah, anyway. So, yeah, a bit of a strange conclusion there, Loyal, I have to say. But Moraine is just troubled by the whole thing. She thinks they should get out of the city and they should, instead of going to Tar Valon, they should travel to the Blight to warn the Green Man. Now, how she knows about the Blight, or how she knows about the Green Man being in the Blight, God knows. But yeah, she thinks this is a threat, and yeah, she wants to warn the Green Man of this threat and realise they will be attacked by the Trollocs outside the city as soon as they try to leave. The only solution that Moraine can now think of is asking Loyal to guide them to a way gate and travel the ways. Moraine tries to convince Loyal when pressed. He utterly refuses to do it, and that's kind of where we're left off at this point. Loyal's just like, no, 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 I'm not going down to the ways. That place is messed up. And Moraine's just like, it's our only way out. We're gonna do it. I makes her die. There's no way you can refuse me. Yeah. So yeah, it's quite, and then that basically brings an end to the chapter. So who are these people talking about men trying to destroy the Dark One, trying to destroy the Eye of the World? What is the Eye of the World, and what is the Great Serpent? How does what's the ways? What is in the ways? I know what's in the ways, but and it's terrifying. But yes, I can understand Loyal's reaction to that, and yeah, it's just like this is where it really takes a turn, because up until this point in the book, there's always been a journey. There's been a goal in mind. The goal was, let's head to Canaan, let's go to Tarvalon, and the Aes Sedai witches will protect the boys. But now it's like suddenly, okay, we need to go to Tarvalon to help Matt because he's got really overly attached to his special little dagger, and it's killing him. And Moraine can only do so much by herself. She's managed to remove its taint from Matt, but she can't completely remove it, and the taint will come back, and she won't be able to protect him. So they need to go to Tar Valon, but she's obviously decided, right, at this particular moment in time, I've got these three boys, and I've got this Ogier. The Ogier's told me a story about someone trying to destroy the Eye of the World, and then Perrin's piped up and said, all right, yeah, I've heard the same story 3 years ago. So it's suddenly like she's realized, all right, I'm being given this information at this moment in time with these three Tarviran boys. I need to act on it. She's a clever lady. She's like, I need to go to the Green Man, who she knows is in the Blight. I think she might have been there before or something, and she needs to go there and warn him. So that's what they're off to do. and the only way to get there is via the most dangerous means of travel there is possible. And so that's the way they're going to go. Um, yeah, just a couple of little side notes. We do actually get the first mention of a couple of characters in this chapter of Demandred, Baphamel, and Landfear. So, in case that, for those of you who have read the series and know who those chapters are, this is the first time they actually pop up at this point, which is quite interesting. And so this leads us into this week's readings with Rob, which will actually be readings with Bill. But I'm going to use the readings with Rob intro because I don't have a readings with Bill intro. So I've chosen a little chapter, which is where a little part of the chapter where Loyal is speaking to Moraine and telling her the story of the man who came to steadying Shanghai.
And now, the Taviren present to you Readings with Rob.
From chapter 42 of The Eye of the World. I've just remembered something, Aes Sedai. Something I have always wanted to ask an Aes Sedai should I ever meet one. Since you know many things and have great libraries in Tarvalon, and now I have, of course, and may I? If you make it brief, she said curtly. Brief, he said as if wondering what the word meant. Yes, well, brief. There was a man who came to steadying Shanghai a little while back. This was not unusual in itself. At the time, it was of a great many refugees had come to the spine of the world, fleeing what you humans call the Isle War. Rand grinned. A little time back, 20 years near enough. He was at the point of death, though there were no wound or mark on him. The elders thought it might be something of Aes Sedai had done. Loyal gave Moraine an apologetic look. Since as soon as he was within the steading, he quickly got well. A few months. One night he left without a word to anyone, simply sneaked away when the moon was down. He looked at Moraine, face cleared, and cleared his throat again. Yes, brief. But before he left, he told a curious tale in which he meant to carry to Tarvalon. He said the Dark One intended to blind the eye of the world and slay the great serpent, kill time itself. The elders said he was sound in his mind as in body, but that was what he said. What I have wanted to ask is, can the Dark One do such a thing? Kill time itself and the eye of the world? Can he blind the eye of the great serpent? What does it mean? Rand expected almost anything from Moraine, except what he saw. Instead of giving Loyal an answer or telling him she had no time for it now, she stood there staring right through the Ogier, frowning in thought. That's what the Tinkers told us, Perrin said. Yes, Egwene said, the AL story. Moraine turned to her slowly. No other part of her moved. What story? It was an expressionless look she gave them, but it made Perrin take a deep breath. Though when he spoke, he was as deliberate as ever. Some Tinkers crossing the waste. They said they could do that unharmed. They found Aiel dying after the battle with Trollocs. Before the last Aiel died, they were all women apparently, told the Tinkers what Loyal just said. The Dark One, they called him Sightblinder, intends to blind the eye of the world. This was only 3 years ago, not 20. Does it mean something? Everything, Moraine said. Her face was still. But Rand had the feeling her mind raced behind those dark eyes.
That was Readings with Rob. If there's a passage in an upcoming chapter you wish to have read on the podcast, simply tweet us at TavirenPod with your request.
Hey, and that was a good old Readings with Beelzemon. See what I did there? Uh, so yeah, yeah, I soloed it this week, guys. Again, like I said, not the most exciting of chapters. It was just basically, everyone's met up. They haven't spoken for 20 chapters, so they just explained what they did for 20 chapters. Two of them told the same story, and then Moraine shat herself. Um, and then Loyal shat himself when he was told he had to go to the ways. So we'll have to find out what's going on there. And yeah, I kind of, I hope I did Rob's reading with Bill's subject section. I hope I did it justice. Um, Having to come up with some voices on the fly there. I don't know what I was doing with Perrin. I think I probably thrown through about 20 different American accents when that suddenly started. I just on the fly decided, yeah, this is what he's going to sound like. So yeah, I feel like that was important. I like to get. I feel like the idea of the Isle story and the one that Loyal was telling was kind of the most important point of the chapter. I could have done Loyal's reaction when Moraine told him he had to go to the ways, but screw it. So that's it this week, guys. So what have we got going on? So again, like I said, we've got a new merch store which should be coming online hopefully soon. So keep an eye out for that one in the links below. Like I said, next week we have chapter 43, which is decisions and apparitions. So if you want to keep up with us, read that one. I believe we start heading off and finding more out about the way gates. So that'll be nice and interesting. And yeah, if you want to get in touch with the show, you can contact us on Twitter at TarvrianPod. If you want to contact me, I'm at Metunica, Metunnica. Again, all this is in the links below. You can get Rob at the main Twitter site, and you can get Rich at HowBlue 169 or something like that. It's all in the links below. You can come join our Discord server, which I have to admit's gone quite quiet since a certain Wheel of Time YouTuber has started his own Discord channel. I've noticed everyone seems to have just jumped ship. I can't blame him. His Discord server is very nice and active, whereas ours really wasn't. So apologies about that. But come join our Discord server if you want to talk to us directly. And yeah, other than that, we'll look out for hopefully a double episode. Well, not double episode, but two hosts, so that we can actually have some back and forth, and make some Jamaican land jokes and all that sort of shenanigans. I can't go on tangents on my own. I can't just suddenly say, hey, do you know about the Queen? Do you know about the Queen? But yeah, anyway, join us next week, guys, for more Wheel of Time madness. And I hope the pattern wheels you a nice week. Goodbye.
Now that our heroic trio have left the familiar confines of the two rivers, they find themselves being chased by all sorts of denizens of the Dark One. Our party has been scattered, and the boys separated from Moraine and Lan. Let us hope that luck, or some other force, can keep them safe. Bill? Billiam! Put that dagger down! You have no idea where in creation that's been. No, Rich. I don't have an extra cloak with me. Maybe if you didn't ride your horse straight into the Arenelle, you wouldn't have this problem, For crying out loud, Robert, I know that girl from Berlon said weird things to you, but you shouldn't let it get under your skin so much. What are you, 11? You all remind me of a younger version of myself. Why, back in Watch Hill, I would...
Hello friends, this is Troidal Power, host of the Troidal Power Presents the Power Playthroughs podcast with Troidal Power, a podcast where I, your host, Troidal Power, play through games in a powerful way. And I'm inviting you to listen to Troidal Power Presents the Power Playthroughs podcast with Troidal Power, a podcast where I, your host, Troidal Power, play through games in a powerful way. You can find it and a lot of other weird shows at probablywork.com.
This has been a presentation
of the We Can Make This Work
Probably Network.
Follow us on Twitter
At probablywork.
For more of our questionable content.
Also, we have a website called probablywork.com.
This has been a presentation
of the We Can Make This Work
Probably Network.
Follow us on Twitter
At probablywork.
For more of our questionable content.
Also, we have a website called probablywork.com.